It's Thursday night. It's Pavis Perspective again. It is episode 105 of the Pavis Perspective. 5 weeks passed since we did that 100th episode with all those giveaways. So thank you all for joining us. If you are listening back on Spotify, drop us that 5-star review. That's slowly growing and pushing us up those Spotify rankings. So thank you for that. As always, Better Bytes Computers do sponsor the channel. They help us produce the content we do. So code Pavis Perspective when you go in and you get money off refurbished computers or indeed computer repairs. Fantastic company. Generally couldn't recommend it enough. George, I want to start the show on a bit of a down note, mate. I'm going to have to make an apology. Not something we do on the channel. But I'd just like to make a formal apology to Dan Crawley for giving him a 7 on Saturday. I was caught up in the moment driving home. It's a 9 performance, isn't it? It was a stunning performance.
I'm staying strong.
No, it's not a 7. I'm gutted. I'm gutted I gave it you. So, Dan, if you're watching, I know you're a regular viewer. I do apologise.
You've gone soft. You've gone soft.
It's a 9 out of 10. The guy's goal was unbelievable.
It was a good performance, but just
got assists. I can't give him a 7. That's the first time I've had to apologise.
You gave him a 7 though.
Yeah, but I'm giving him a 9. 9 Stunning performance. We've got John with us, Nuneaton, Martin, Gloucestershire. We've got Stephen, Paul. Paul's in Scarbados. Kenneth in Hina. I won't say what kind of Hina, but it's there. You can scroll back in the chat. Got Paul, Len. We've got Jane. Callum is actually in the cinema. That is pure dedication. Gary, Mickey, Derek, Dave, Dale, Paul. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, loads of regulars in. We've got Tom, who is a Wimbledon fan. He's going to join us in a second. It's going to be a bit like last week when we had our Bradford fan. I'm going to get him straight in the show before we start talking about those results. But George, very quickly before we get Tom in, how are you feeling now we've turned that around with a victory?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I'm feeling it was a hard watch at times, wasn't it? But
second half was shocking. Let's be honest.
But at the end of the day, at the end of the season, you don't remember those. But we are making a bit of a habit of it. So we just need to iron that out. But it's something that William's aware of, and I'm sure is working tirelessly to sort of resolve. So
yeah, and very, very quickly as well, a couple of words on the fans forum, which we're going to talk about in quite a bit of depth later. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I was gutted I missed it, to be honest. I've been quite unwell the last couple of days. To be honest, I completely escaped my mind to even apply to go. But then the day came and I've only just really got over it. But yeah.
Good, mate. Good for you. You'll be a hard worker, aren't you? You're a hard worker.
Sometimes.
Right, let's chat Wimbledon then. Let's get Tom in. Actually, this is dedication. We've got a list of shame for those two sides, Barrow and Accrington. But Tom, how are you doing, mate?
Good, thank you, boys. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. This is dedication. We've not had someone pull up in their car to do a show with us yet. So I think Wimbledon first team in the Hall of Fame for the Pavis Perspective.
Boys, look, I was on the way home from work. I was like, I'm on this podcast soon, and I was not going to miss it. So pulled over and got myself ready. So anyone watching, I do apologise for the awful lighting and the car in the background.
No, dedicate. I'm sure our viewers will absolutely love it. If you do have a question for Tom, pop it in the chat. I'll try and put a few to him in a second. But Tom, we were briefly chatting before. You actually you have some stuff on the Wimbledon sort of main socials, don't you? So just give us a little insight into what you do.
Yeah, so basically it's only a voluntary role. We do a pre and post match show. So before the game, we'll do one actually on Saturday on the club's YouTube, and it goes across Facebook as well. And yeah, essentially just do a live show, chat to viewers. We had John Scales on. No, we didn't. We had him on last season. We've had Simon Bassey, one of our old managers. We've had loads of cool guests, and yeah, it's been really good fun. Then on the post match, sometimes we'll get a player up. We had Joe Lewis last Saturday, and that's really good fun. Just chatting to him after the game, do a little bit of post-match interview. And then luckily that one got clipped up and put on the club socials. So I got my face across the Twitter as well.
Good stuff. Nice work. Sounds good. We'll go to the game then. You start this weekend in 10th. Happy with that? Or you think there's stuff obviously everyone's got things to improve on, but how are you feeling about that 10th position?
I'm quite happy, to be honest. Coming off the back of last season where we obviously struggled quite a lot. Obviously ended up finishing 20th, 21st, and that wasn't really where I thought we should have been finishing. And this year we had a very, very strong start to the season. We had a bit of a blip a week where we conceded 8 goals. Typically, that was the week I was away on holiday, so I paid to watch the iFollow and watch the Ship 8. So I wasn't particularly impressed with that, but yeah, like you have a slip up in the week, and then we've come back bouncing, and we won again, and we won in the cup as well. So really, really excited for that, and looking to push on and sort of maybe regain that form that we saw in the start of the season.
What was your pre-season predictions? Myself and George did a video, and I think we both had you sort of upper mid-table in that video. We didn't have you playoffs, but what was your expectations?
I think I said after the first game, we've got a lad that does some TikToks, but he bumped into us, and I thought, John, we'll do it for the end of the game. And I said, look, we could go anywhere really between playoffs and 12th. I think would sort of be sort of similar to you guys. I think, look, on our day we play some good football, and we have some really, really talented individuals. I think this is probably one of our strongest teams in terms of sort of the players we've brought in. Over the summer, we brought in 10 new players, and all of them could start on the day. You look at the signings like Jake Greaves coming back, Alex Bass. Obviously, Ali was a January in the previous season, but these are sort of players we haven't signed before. I reckon also Ali for multiple millions of pounds, probably around the 2 million mark. I imagine people are quoting 5-6 million on Twitter, but that ain't gonna happen. He's not, obviously he's a very, very good player, but I don't think he's worth sort of, especially in terms of if a big club from the Championship comes in, we can't say no to that. You know what I mean? They'll probably come in and triple his wages. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be a shame to lose him, but he's been unbelievable. And even when he didn't score, I remember at the start of the season, there was like a silly stat going around that he had crazy expected goals, but didn't have the goals to back it up. But he was still, causing ridiculous trouble with dribbling. And when we went to Chelsea away in the cup, that kid's got Premier League pace. He had Colwell on absolute skates. It was remarkable to watch. And to be fair, he nearly got himself a goal as well. So yeah. Those sort of signings have been phenomenal for us, and they'll come good, I think, as they come the end of the season.
Away from the game, that's really interesting that you say Premier League pace, because we myself and George know someone that's played decent level, had trials in Football League, played for Mansfield, and he was saying you think players in the Premier League are slow, but the slowest players in the Premier League are faster than half the players in the Championship and things like that. So that is definitely it is a thing, isn't it? People think of Mertesacker and things. Mertesacker would probably beat us 3 in a race. That
Premier League with one leg, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we have Aaron Demand, don't we, George? I know you're a massive fan of his pace. We were discussing what level he could play at, weren't we, George? Pre-season when the rumours are flying around. But George reckons Championship.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but raw pace. There's no substitute for it, is there?
Exactly.
We'll get a question in then, and this was bound to come up. Adam's asked, what is the relationship, feelings between Wimbledon and MK Dons? Obviously, stadiums very different, but do you hate them?
I mean, we'll go personally, and we'll go sort of, from a. I'm a journalist, so I was a journalist. I've sort of moved into more communications now, but I know from a journalistic background, objectively, it's a grudge match. I think is the best way to put it. It's a game that shouldn't really exist, probably. And I mean, the media love to hype it up in that sense, but from a personal point of view, I won't ever go to the away game or really pay attention to it. Obviously, when they come to us, it's part of my season ticket, so I sort of watch that game. I mean, I think it was when we were last in League One, we drew 1-1 with them, and we went 1 up, and I thought I wasn't going to see the end of the match, but yeah, it's a very, very hotly debated topic, and I did think it would come up. But yeah, I think the majority of the football world has a side they've picked. And obviously, I think we all know, I mean, I'm assuming you boys probably on that same side, in the sense of it shouldn't have happened. It probably will never happen again, what happened, but it has happened. And yeah, like I said, it's just one of those games that shouldn't really exist. And also, one thing about the stadiums being different, one of them's full and one's not. So we'll leave that one there.
Yeah, I went to MK earlier in the season. It was like we're singing to ourselves, not just saying that because you're on the podcast, but there was nothing coming back. It was very hard to create an atmosphere. It was yeah, and they're so spread out. They don't even have a section really together. It was a strange one.
Yeah, it's bizarre. You see photos on Twitter and you're like, oh, you think it's the home fans, but it's actually the away fans that have got more people. And yeah, but like I said, I could come on here and like slag them off, you know what I mean? But I obviously personally are very, very against them, and you know, I will never go to the away game or do anything really that contributes to them financially.
Do many fans do that? Do many fans?
Yeah, there's a lot of boycotting. Some of them, I think it's a bit of a difference. Some just completely ignore it. Will completely ignore it. Some will actively boycott it, and others will go to the game because they're really up for it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, for some, it's like the ultimate rivalry. I think I put a tweet out probably about a year ago now when we last played them. I was like, it's not a rivalry as such. It's just a grudge match and one that shouldn't exist. And I said it like just now, but I think that's really the best way to put it from my point of view. Some love it and will really be up for it, and then other people will just they just try to pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, fair enough. Definitely on the side of Wimbledon for myself. Yeah, definitely.
There's quite an interesting Copper 90, I think, or Mundial video on it. That comes at it from a more objective angle, because obviously I myself am very, very, when I talk about it in the pub or whatever, I'm obviously from a biased side, so seeing stuff from an objective angle I think is always handy.
Yeah, definitely. I've got any more questions in there. So Charlie's asked one, asking about a couple of players that might be a big miss for you on a Saturday. Huge. Omar Bijou, what a player. Oh, God. And you know what? He played for Sutton. So before we came into it, you never really want to be like, oh, one of our rivals' players. He is a player. Like, he does stuff on the pitch, and he's like, wow. But it's not like he scores 30 goals, but he wins headers. He puts his elbow up. He sort of kicks out. Good player. I like him. He's a proper centre forward, and we'll miss him. I think he'd do us well against you boys. It'll cause a bit of a mix-up against what is going to be a really tough game. I'm sure we'll touch on that in a bit. And then Husbyler, he's a good player. But luckily, Isaac Ogundere, right back, he stepped up this season, to be fair to him. He's a young lad. I think he's a year younger than Byler. They're only 21 and 20 respectively. So, like, we're talking young lads here from the academy. And luckily, Ogundere can do a job at right back, just as good, I'd argue, as Husbyler. So he's not as much of a miss, but Omar Begil is a massive miss. Yeah, I mean, strikers that win headers.
We haven't had many of them. So,
yeah.
We haven't had. To be fair, we try and make everyone a centre forward, so it's fine. Nice we found one that can win a header.
Who was the last striker we had that genuinely won headers? Eli Sam was big. Yeah, maybe.
No, maybe Wharton.
Wharton was pretty good, but we've kind of gone away from that striker that's going to win headers, and it's more the injury.
Amiobi.
Yeah, Amiobi. What a player. I had John Stead and Shola Amiobi up top at once in League Two. Honestly, they're dreams.
Incredible.
John Stead. I love John Stead. I don't know. You were Amiobi side, weren't you, George?
Yeah.
Great players. Sure. Great players. Obviously, Stockport are very early to say, but they look to be running away with the division already. I mean, they're 6 points clear of second place Mansfield, and they're in the playoffs by, we're looking 8 points already, more than 13 in a row. Did you have them up there at the start of the season? Because I had them league winners.
Yeah, they were good last year, and they've done well. They've signed well this year. I think. Talking of Stockport, actually, my worry is obviously we've got two players on loan from them. Joe Lewis, who is a Rolls Royce of a centre back, and I don't use that lightly. And then we've got Conor Lemonhay Evans as well, who's a tricky left winger and scored an absolute world in the cup for us against Cheltenham, not Chesterfield as I've recently called them, Cheltenham. And they've scored. So he's a good player, and he's given us that depth that we sort of need. So yeah, they could derail our season very easily, but yeah, they came to us and they just played good football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sorry, go on.
They've just played good football. Like, they've got quality players. Louis Barry, although he played for the team we don't name, look, he's a good player. You know, I don't think you get many players that have played for Barcelona in League Two. So yeah, good player. And then they've got loads of other players as well. Sort of, you look at their midfield and attack, and it's like lower League One. It's not even League Two. Yeah,
I think every opposition fan we've had in here has basically said they had Stockport to win the league at the start, and we sit in third place. Funny one, because with a team that just come up through the playoffs on a penalty shootout, so the expectation shouldn't be massively high. We've discussed this in length with guests, amongst friends groups on the channel. We haven't no right to be expecting to be in that top three, but we find ourselves in that top three, and now it's a case of we've been here for 18 games. Will we deserve to be here based on that? And not surprising you, doing what you thought, or?
I thought it was going to go one of two ways. I thought it was either going to be you and Wrexham up there, or you and Wrexham sort of lower down the table. I think, and just while we put it on there, you talk about getting to the playoffs. I think you boys deserve to go up as automatics, may I add? Not to try and win favour, but I was rooting for you when I don't want to talk about a bad time, but obviously when Ben Foster saved that penalty, I was gutted, absolutely gutted. I imagine you boys were slightly more gutted than me, being slightly more invested in County, but I thought you boys deserved to go straight up. And to be fair, you battled those playoffs would have been an absolute roller coaster coming back from going a goal down each time. But to be fair, the limbs at Wembley must have been incredible.
Yeah, unbelievable.
George the mess. Absolutely. But yeah, I think we led for 3 minutes in the playoffs because we were leading for about 30 seconds of the semi-final. No, it was actually it was 3 minutes of the semi-final and none of the final up until penalties. Amazing, but it would have been awful. Like where we would be now, we're going to have to talk about him in a second. But we wouldn't have Macca up front for us anymore. Langstaff,
what a player!
It was alluded to by Williams in a fans forum that McGoldrick was set on coming here no matter what, but I can't see McGoldrick in the National League. Would have had a very different side. Dan Crowley's fantastic. But we'll go on to players in a second. There was a question from Isaac that asks, what is your biggest strength and weakness?
I'd say biggest weakness is when it falls apart big. Like we'll have a slop, a ropey 5 minutes sort of thing, and that's not and it's worrying sort of we play some bad football. And I think our biggest strength, and I'm worrying about this on Saturday because I know you guys are a very possession-based team. We've sort of this season, for the first time I can really remember watching the Wimbledon side, we're controlling possession and we're sort of playing around the opposition half. And I don't know how that's going to work on Saturday, which is sort of my worry. But yeah, and I think also our biggest strength is probably Ali Al-Hamadi. He can just change a game like that. He can drop in and drop a shoulder and shoot and put it in the bottom corner. So I think that'll probably be our biggest strength is going forward at the moment with James Tilley and Ali Al-Hamadi, and then our biggest weakness will be it can fall apart very quickly.
Yeah, our possession is our biggest strength, but can also be our biggest weakness as well. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. We make a lot of errors.
Interesting. I was going to Ali Al-Hamadi could benefit of that then if you make a few errors in the middle.
Defo.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how's Jake Reeves doing?
Oh, what a player. He's good. He is so good. He's our skipper and went to a few games in pre-season and all you can do is hear him just barking at the team, just like shouting instructions. And it's what you need. He's a proper captain. He brings so much calmness to the middle of that pitch. I don't think we had for a while like that sort of control in the middle of the park. It allows Armani Little to be a bit more creative and expressive, but God, those two work hard. And do you know what? Me and one of my pals actually, Liam, if you're listening, me and him were talking about how we're going to approach Saturday, because I just don't think we can go two in the middle against you guys. But Armani Little and Jake Reeves work so hard that they almost make a two in midfield work. But yeah, I think we'll bring another midfielder in against you guys to try and counteract your possession. I think will be the plan. Yeah. But again, I'm not the gaffer, so God knows what we're going to do.
We had Jake Reeves in the National League in our second season. Then he went to Stevenage, I think. He was good, but we've since had Matty Palmer, who's unfortunately against Wrexham had an ACL injury, and Matty Palmer in the National League anyway looked levels above Jake Reeves.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Wow. You've got that John Bostock as well, player. Dan Crowley, you mentioned earlier. Is he more attacking midfield or is he more central?
Yeah, midfield.
Yeah, I'm going off of FM, so...
Yeah, he's just a all-round defensive, not really defensive. He used to swap with, sometimes he's more attacking, sometimes Matty Palmer sat in and so on. But we've got Dan Gosling, League 2 level is crazy.
Signing.
But he's not match fit, and I'd be surprised if he gets more than... what do you reckon? 35 minutes, George? Yeah, I don't think he'll get too long against you guys. So it'll be Jim O'Brien in there, who's just 36 years old, runs around like mad.
He knows the division sort of thing.
Yeah,
he knows what
he'll cause problems. Though, won't he, Jim O'Brien?
Yeah,
he will cause problems.
He definitely will. I want to leave with two questions, Tom. The first is like a joint question. It's what player that we might not know about would be one to watch, and who are you most worried about for knots?
I'm going to add a question in on the end as well.
Go on then.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to go player you might not know about that's decent. would be either. I mean, I've mentioned him on here, but probably Joe Lewis is a very good centre back. I don't. I mean, the obvious ones, obviously, good players would be Jack Curry, Ali Hamidi, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think Ryan Lewis. I put our two centre backs together. Joe Lewis. He's a good player. Very, very calm on the ball. Yeah, good centre back. And then one player of yours that I'd love. How many can I have? Got to be Maka Langstaff, isn't it? What a player.
He's top scorer in the league, I think.
Yeah, he's so good. Probably be him. I mean, we actually got quite a good few striking options at the moment with obviously Ali and Omar, and obviously Josh Davison as well. But yeah, Langstaff's some player.
Yeah. And then, George, go with your question because I'll finish with the score prediction.
Okay, I was just going to go to the poll. Lumpy mash, delicious or unacceptable?
Unacceptable. God. You wouldn't, like gravy, you wouldn't have gravy lumpy either, would you?
Exactly.
Well, that might be next week's poll, but me and George will reveal what we've said at the end. But
no, yeah, mash has to be so creamy and smooth for it to be decent.
Fair enough. I mean, that's probably the biggest question we've asked you this evening.
Yeah,
but it is a big one.
That's the banker, that one.
It is. And then score prediction for the game. Then I think it's going to be a very, very tricky game for both teams.
Yeah. I don't predict Wimbledon to lose, so I'm going to go. I think they're 1-1. I think if you boys make mistakes in the middle sometimes where you're a bit sloppy, I think Ali will capitalise on that. We've got some quick players in the middle, but without Huss, although Isaac can step up, and with no Omar, I think we're going to struggle. And I'm interested to see how Johnny Jackson goes with that. But yeah, no, I think 1-1 with us sort of nicking a goal, and you boys, I think you're going to control a lot of possession.
Yeah, be an interesting one. Interesting. Tom, really appreciate it. Pulling over to do this. Dedication. So would love to have you back on later in the year when you travel to Medellin. So, yeah.
Sounds good, boys. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Speak to you later. Bye. George, great guests keep on coming, don't they? Genuinely, every guest we've had has been fantastic this season. So much insight into the team. I'm glad we started to get opposition guests on. George, the question here, has George got a black eye or is it the lighting? I'll tell you the story. Basically, I was excited that Girls Aloud have got back together and George said they're rubbish, so I lamped him.
No, I haven't got a black eye.
No, he hasn't.
It does look like it, doesn't it? That one.
But, yeah, we'll just go that Girls Aloud story.
They're
back together.
Sleepless night.
They're back together.
That Bradford second off, sleepless night.
Oh, mate. Don't worry. I think it's going to be a great game. One of them, I'm looking forward to this as an away game. Once I haven't been there, maybe the most of an away game so far this season. I was looking forward to Gillingham. But I really am looking forward to this one. Should be a good one. Let's dip back into the game against Bradford then. Mm-hmm. And a couple of fans saying to us at halftime, best first half they've seen all season. Some saying the best first half in years. It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Can't really expand on that. It was good, wasn't it?
It was good. It was superb. Superb first half. They were semi-dangerous, not massively. A couple of crosses in there.
They had some good chances in that first half, I thought.
They did. They had a few good chances. But we blew them away. I mean, we looked at each other when for the first goal, how they set up.
It's got to be, it's ridiculous. The most rigid 4-4-2 you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like the amount of space that allowed Langstaff and McGoldrick in the first half. Like I was almost embarrassed.
Do you know who was finding unreal space between the because they played two up front there, the striker and the left midfielder? Dan Crawley was having a field day.
I thought you were going to say Casper Sloth then.
No, he could have played without grumbling, honestly. But it was shocking. It was so poor. And, you got your new manager bounce against Barrow and you concede in 24 seconds against Barrow. You come out and you think, I was thinking fast start for here from Bradford. Fans behind them, fast start, and they were just awful. Right. I could have no affiliation with Notts at all, watch 2 or 3 Notts games and tell you that Dan Crawley is going to play the ball inside the defender and give it to Aaron Deman. It's you could get someone that doesn't watch football and say, what do you notice from these 10 clips? And they would say that he passes the ball to him. Like, it's so basic.
I know, but I think it's easy to say that from the stands, isn't it? It's so it's easy to switch off. Like, you can prepare for something as much as you want, but if you're not switched on to that specific action, it's going to beat you. And you just sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say that our players have the quality to switch it on, and sometimes it just can't be helped.
True. But you're thinking as a manager, in 4 minutes in, and you've let him do it.
Yeah,
shocking. And then it just Maka gets a second goal, which we would never have known that from where we were sat. It just looked like a straight Bostock goal. I just think the first half, you couldn't really improve on it. I mean, their fans were streaming out, going to the pubs in Nottingham before the half had even finished. Some of the chants, telling the board to get out. My favourite was they sang something like, "You're not that special, it's only 4-0. I mean, that's when what should we thinking is that? The only thing I would say is that Luke Williams would have known this, but they're going to get a hammering from their manager at half time, and they're going to come out different. And it looked like we weren't ready for that. It looked like we thought they were going to come out the same team. Because that second half, not only was it poor, it was so boring. We barely got in the half for like half an hour.
I know Williams, I likened it very much to Forest Green, and it pretty much was like Forest Green. It was quite similar in the sense that first half we, let's say, blew them away, and then second half it was a completely different story. And it's so annoying. It's so annoying because we know that it's going to improve as the season goes on. I think it's just nailing it down to the fine details in it. We've got a long list of injuries, which doesn't help, I don't think.
Do you know what?
Jim causes problems, right? Like he doesn't stop running, but you can't do that for 90 minutes.
No. I think if Matty Palmer's on the pitch, he just gets the ball, slows it down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You knew they were going to come out. And I'll be honest, there was, and I think we said it, I think I said it to you, there was a point in that, I think just after they scored the second, where I think I said to you, we could drop points here. We could draw this. And if we drew that game from a 4-0 position, oh, goodness me, if Cook up front for them didn't need 20 touches in the box, we'd be in a real mess, because he wanted 5, 6, 7 touches to get his shot away. So Martin says it's a mystery to me is why we don't start second halves well. Surely Luke rallies them up at half time, whatever the score. Yeah, I think he will have it. I think Luke Williams will have no doubt in his mind how he wants them to go out and play. It's just like you say, George, like injuries as well. Matty Palm will control that. Like what Jim's like breaks the line, doesn't he? And upsets teams and gets in positions and wins the ball back. But Matty Palmer would have taken that game and been like, no, let's just pass it out to the fullbacks. Let's keep it going.
The thing I like about Williams, though, that he won't, to the squad, he won't use that as an excuse, I don't think.
No way.
He won't allow that to become an excuse, because as soon as you start using excuses, it's a downward spiral for me.
Yeah, it is, definitely. But you're the voice of reason, and you're not usually very sensible with what you say. So I was impressed with you. We left the game, and I was, you feel deflated, don't you? Because the last 45 is the football you talk about. But you said, like, how can we believe in a game after being promoted against an established League Two side and be disappointed with a 4-2 win? You have to just take a step back, don't you?
Yeah.
And I do think that I took what you said and thought, we've won 4-2. And for the majority, not the majority of the game, but for most of that game, we were completely comfortable. Once it went to 2-0, we were relaxed, weren't we? So 4-2 win.
It's just a concern for like games later down the line, isn't it? That you're sort of grieving for a little bit before they've even happened when you play like that in the second half. Yeah.
James says, I think certain players were smug, thought the yellows and some passes were sloppy. I tell you what was sloppy, definitely some of those yellows. That Aidan Baldwin one, where he just kicked the ball away. Ridiculous. Why have you done that? There's no need for that. Some of the passes did get a little bit like that. I thought Dan Gosling came on and gave it straight away for their second goal. I wouldn't put that down to him. I think it was a bit of a tricky ball played to him straight in the middle, and when you're not in the flow of the game. Nigel says 1 step back, 2 steps forward. Yeah, I mean, I think this season the attack's spot on. We were saying we've only scored, what was it? We said we've only scored 3 in 4 games, and that was a bad patch for us a couple of games ago. Some teams will say, oh, we've only scored 1 in 5, like 3 in 4. That's not that bad. Defensively, it will get better. Defensively, We didn't concede against Crewe from open play, and it was a dodgy penalty that got that. So it's going to improve. It's going to improve. We're doing amazing. Had a bit in your hand off for even mid-table at the start of the season. Yeah, definitely. We're sat in that third position, and you look, we lost to Wrexham and we're still above them. So Mansfield, we're 2 behind them. Wrexham, they've got a show on
Nickelodeon.
I think it's Nickelodeon, or it's one of those Nicktoons or something. I don't know why we're saying it. We're in it, but there we go. Slating ourselves. But yeah. But no, you lose to teams around us. That's one issue, but we're beating teams. Look at the bottom of the table. Beat Forest Green, beat Tranmere, beat Grimsby, beat Bradford, beat Doncaster. We are beating those teams. So Luke explained the ball when you yelled at the fans for him. I didn't hear that, to be fair. I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing. I listened to most of it. I presume he was trying to slow the game down and things like that. But let us know what that was for. So we have Wimbledon, George. Tough game, as we've spoken to Tom about. They've got some good players. I'm relieved a couple of their top players are out, though. Definitely. So, Luke said Baldwin tried to kick the ball at a player, stopping and taking a free kick and missed. That's a shocking yellow to take. Because from my perspective, it looked like he just booted the ball out as hard as he could.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by that one.
I don't know. Yeah, I want to watch that back. Set piece coach would be fuming with that. So, Crawley then. We'll briefly talk about Crawley. What springs to mind when we talk about Crawley at home? Because for me, it's not naively, but should be winning that.
Yeah.
Definitely should be winning that. They started this season incredibly well. We had them to finish bottom, didn't we? I don't think they're going to finish bottom, but they've dropped considerably. Recent results, 1 win in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 win in 8 games in the league.
Poor.
We've got to be beating them. Away form, it's 20th. They picked up 6 points from 8 games, and our home form, 21 points from 27. You can't get much better than that. So I think we've got to be looking at winning that game, haven't we? Almost 100%. Right, let's have a quick chat about the fans forum, because we've chatted a lot about Wimbledon. We've given a little bit on that Crawley game, which I think, just don't be slopping. We should get the win. But I thought fans forum was pretty good from what I heard. I think did you hear Williams explain set pieces and the corner routine?
Yeah, it's been doing its rounds on Twitter, hasn't it? And
1 million views on the video. I've heard about that. Quite a lot of questions about stadium development as well.
Yeah, that was interesting, actually. I listened to that sort of segment. I probably listened to about an hour of it, I think. I've only got about halfway through. It sounds interesting. It sounds like we're going to do the whole outside of the pitch, get the pitch dug up, relayed, and all that sort of stuff. Or even if we are or we aren't, they're going on the right avenues. They're talking about developing behind the Cyril to maximize capacity and stuff like that, and just making Meadow Lane, the matchday experience, improved whilst also increasing revenue, which is can't really have so much more, can you really?
Sensible. There was an answer for everything, but like I'm not in the negative way. Oh, they've got an answer for everything, but they had a reason behind everything. Like it was brought up about even the smallest detail, like cashless kiosks, 3 times quicker. They can get more revenue in, things like that. The pitch looks good to us, but apparently it's in an awful state. I don't know if you got to that part of saying underneath the pitch is a disaster. There's just
drainage and stuff.
Poor. Looking at doing that, looking at making it better around sort of the running track area around the outside. I just think, we're going in a positive way. And I know this doesn't directly link, but I don't know what you think. I feel like if you're a club on the up and you improve the infrastructure of your club and the feel of the club, it attracts more, but like it attracts those better players, the bigger crowds. I feel like it's hard, obviously not a hard and fast rule, but it's harder to then regress again. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And look, as much as going to the match, a large percentage of it's about the game. The match day experience, for a lot of people, the 90 minutes of football is probably 20% of their match day experience.
Yeah.
In terms of time that they're away. So if you improve the match day experience and you make people want to stay in and around the ground before and after kickoff, you're laughing, aren't you? And I think about when we went to, I can't remember what the team was now, for your stag do in Belgium. The first game we went to.
Westerlo.
Yeah. And like there was like a tent out the front, wasn't there? You could get a few drinks.
Yeah.
And they're all playing music. And then you go inside and there's like a communal like bar area. And the vibe was amazing. Like it was like a party sort of atmosphere. I don't think we want to sort of. I think you've got to keep it traditional, as in like keeping it as Notts County traditional football club, without sort of getting it too mixed up with like the European way type thing.
Yeah.
But that sort of vibe, I just loved it. I thought it was amazing.
It was good.
If you can replicate that to some degree, I'd be over the moon.
Yeah, I would. Dave says sustainability in 2 years is massive. Trust me, there's not many football clubs that are sustainable to a degree where we're almost self-funding. Do you know what I mean? That would be incredible. I'm a big fan of safe standing being introduced. I think that the atmosphere will increase no end with safe standing. And I know there might be people that sort of aren't feeling that, and I hate to go back to it. I hate to talk about them. But Wrexham's atmosphere was, and I don't know if they got safe standing, but their atmosphere was good, and it got them over the line against Notts. I'm almost sure of that. So we can improve ours even more. Love it. You know what's interesting though? I had my word with my dad about this. That stand's taken a while to be built, isn't it? Wrexham. It's taken a long time to be built, right? Never know. Might just finish season 2 of documentary and off they pop. Leave that standing right.
Have you not seen the plan? It's got. I think have they. I might be wrong, but I'm sure I read online that it's nearly built, but they're not allowed to have 4,000 people in the 4,000 seats. It's like 50 or something. So the planning permission wasn't passed. I can't remember the terms and conditions, but it's something like they're not allowed to actually fulfill the stand for what it is. But I'm sure it'll get overturned. But
I don't know,
something like that. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I'm sure I've read that somewhere.
Would you like the corners filled in at Meadow Lane?
No.
You wouldn't?
Not yet.
I mean, that would increase capacity. What do you reckon? 10,000? 8,000? A couple of thousand in the corners?
Maybe.
I don't know how you do it. Like Meadow Lane's a fairly old ground, isn't it? Let's be honest. I don't know how you would. You can change one thing about the infrastructure of the ground. What would you do straight away?
Do slides down from the top. You know, like the top of the stand.
Which stands? Everyone.
Well, no, because every other stand other than the Pavis seems to get out fairly quickly. So I think they should do slides out the back of the Pavis to get out quicker, because it takes us ages sometimes, doesn't it?
Genuinely, I'd add more exits to Pavis. But that was what I was going to say. But slides.
I just made it fun.
Incredible. Yeah, slide down the Pavis after a win. Like you'd make you feel better after a loss, but after a win,
or just do it anyway.
That'd be class. But yeah, that's what I'd do. More exits in the Pavis, but
definitely it needs doing.
It does, but goodness knows how you do that. I have no clue. Right, let's look at our team for Wimbledon then. Got a few players coming back. We saw Brindley come back. We saw Bostock come back. We will have Jody back, and Jody should be fresh because he played not a massive amount of time for Malta over the last few games. I'll have a look exactly how long he played in total. 32 minutes. Nothing. I think Malta only had one fixture, didn't they? They did. I don't think they've got another one. No. So what'd you go with, George?
In goal, Sam Slocum.
Yeah.
Back three.
I agree.
Back three. I'm going to go Cameron, Baldwin, Macari. Pardon me.
Cameron, Baldwin, Macari. Yeah, I couldn't believe he was dropped. But yeah. Jody and Aaron, I think, for me.
Yeah. Midfield 2 of Bostock and Jim.
How far out do you think Dan Gosling is? I think he's a way out, yeah.
Yeah, he is a way out, I think. But we've got quite a few games coming up, haven't we? Because we've got the Tuesday against Crawley, haven't we? And the Friday against Shrewsbury. So hopefully,
apparently Baldwin's suspended apparently for that yellow.
Baldwin's suspended for that yellow, Tom. So we'll go Macari in the middle then. No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. There we go.
And then the front three pick themselves for me.
Yeah. Again, I want to apologise. Apologise to Crawley. I apologise. 7. I'm going to give you a 9. 9.5 now. Look, I'm not shaking. I'm not shaking at all. And then Crawley, I don't know what you can change. Maybe some rotation to your wing back. Maybe good chance. Maybe 45 minutes for Dan Gosling in that game. I think wouldn't be the end of the world. But
do you think we go all out for the game? I know we'll obviously preview this next week, but Shrewsbury. Do you think we're going to rest bodies for Shrewsbury on Tuesday night against Crawley, or
no, not in the league. No way. I wouldn't rest anyone for an FA Cup game. It's nice to get through in the FA Cup, but I wouldn't dare rest players in the league. What about you?
Maybe 1 or 2.
What, you want to rest players for an FA Cup fixture?
Maybe because I want to get to round 3.
Yeah, I do, but imagine you rest a couple of players against Crawley, it backfires, and we draw 1-1 or lose 2-1.
Yeah, but the options are there off the bench, aren't they? And I do think, let's say we rest, I don't know, a wing back, or we put Dan Gosling in for Jim or someone like that. Nothing too drastic.
Not for me, mate.
Not
for me. But we've all got our own opinions. Right, we'll go to the score predictions, George, but we'll go to the poll question first.
Okay.
Go on.
Lumpy mash, delicious or unacceptable? 28% say delicious, 72% say unacceptable. I think it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should, if you like your mash smooth, I always whisk mine. I've seen it on Gordon Ramsay. Get a whisk in that mash and whisk it for like 2 minutes. Oh my God, you'll never have mash like it.
Really?
Honestly,
I don't mind lumpy mash. It's all right. Less effort to do.
So basically, what you're saying is you like overboiled potatoes.
Overboiled?
Yeah, because that's basically what overboiled potatoes are, aren't they? You got a bit of mash and you got a bit of solid potato in there.
Overboiled. Undercooked. Overboiled. No. They go to mush.
Yeah, but they're still lumpy.
No. I don't mind lumpy mash. Class.
You're only saying it to back yourself up because you're in the doghouse because you made lumpy mash tonight.
No, you'll see me at the top of the Pavis, and I'll still have it in the pan.
Going down the slide.
I'll still have it in the saucepan eating it. You'll hear the crunch of the lumps.
Love it.
Proper undercooked. I'm just going to chuck some raw ones in there just to wind you up. But yeah, I think those 29%. I don't know what to say. I'm saying those 29% will have a. I'll try and rent out the nav for a mashed potato Christmas party.
Do you have lumpy gravy? That's a good point for a roaster.
No. Not lumpy gravy. No.
Everything's got to be smooth.
Yeah, not lumpy gravy. Yeah. Adam says we are picking up a fan flying in from South Carolina on Saturday. He will be here for Wimbledon and Crawley. That is class, to be fair. That is class. South Carolina. We're global, George. We're global.
Yeah.
That is class. Score prediction then for a very tricky fixture on Saturday and one that I would expect us to win on Tuesday. 2-1 Notts, both games. And I think Tom that we had on earlier is going to be haunted by Macca with a double. I'm saying Macca gets 4 in a week.
I always go for 2-1. You've stole my thunder. I'm panicking. I'm going to go 2-1 Wimbledon against Wimbledon.
Yeah.
We're going to win 2-1.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go 2-1 against Crawley.
What's the point in this show anymore?
What is the point in this show?
Seriously, it's just you messing about. Sack it off. We've got 2 wins from 2, 2-1 and 3-0. Stephen's taken our 2-1 now as well. We're just going to end this show, I think. We've got Martin's gone 2-1, scored a penalty in the 98th minute. People just copy him. No, it wasn't before us. We've got the Real Dons 1, 3 for Notts, Macca, Brace and Jones. We've got 2-0 Crawley and Didsey. We've got 1-1 and 3-0, and 4 points in a week when you're going away from home is not the end of the world. Martin's added 3-0 against Crawley. We've got Shane going 3-1, Maka ×2, Jody both games. We've got Langstaff hat-trick overdue, 3-1 Notts, and 5-1 against Crawley. I'd love that, 8 goals. I'm really looking for a clean sheet in at least one of these games. We've got a 2-2 and a 3-0. We played a very depleted crew side and didn't win, so I don't think the red cards necessarily mean too much for Wimbledon. Their main man up top, I think he's still fit. We've got a 3-0 and a 4-0. Charlie, that's the dream. 7 goals, non-conceded. That is the dream. Thank you, as always, for joining us on this Thursday night. Massively appreciate it. And as I said, if you are listening back on Spotify, please do give us that 5-star review. Thank you again to Better Bats Computers Power, our channel and the show for us. And thank you to our Platinum members, Martin, who's with us tonight, and Mackie Horizon, who's also here tonight. I'll put you in there with that 3-0 Langstaff hat-trick versus Wimbledon, and both games 3-0. If you are traveling to Wimbledon, it's a long trip. It's not a cheap trip. So safe travels. If you're traveling from South Carolina, safe travels to the game. And as always, please don't forget to like, comment anything else you think of, and subscribe to the channel.